I own the MLOps strategy for the bank. And basically my day-to-day is all about how we take amazing data science models and build them into software products. And I've been fascinated with that for a few years. So I've worked in a few different domains. I've worked in financial services, I've worked in energy and logistics. And way back in the day, a few years ago, I was a PhD in physics down in London in Imperial College. The only other thing you probably need to know about me is I'm super passionate about communicating like this to the point where I wrote a book like Wally. I wrote a book, Machine Learning Engineering with Python, published by Pact. So that was kind of one of my claims to fame, as it were. But yeah, very excited to be here. Glad to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much. I thank you for keeping it short.
No worries.
The profile, and it's great to have you here. So I think I'll move on to Pablo. I think Pablo is let me give you, okay, yeah, you have the rights. Yes, Pablo.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Johnny and Tim, for having me here. Again, with my two admirers, colleagues and authors, Andy and Olubole, which became very good friends recently because we share a lot of passions together, of course, all around data. Yeah, I'm Spanish. I originally graduated as a financial specialist. So I've been connected to financial services most of my career. In addition, I've been doing a lot of work in corporate finance, auditing, mergers and acquisitions, private equity, financial markets, all of that. And about 10 years ago, I decided to switch careers to something that excites me more, because I had fortunate in my financial career to see many things across my life, and I've done many things in terms of finance. So finance was not exciting for me anymore. So because there is no, as Alexander the Great said, there is no more wall to conquer. So I decided to switch career and I went to data and analysis. I was always very close to statistics and applied statistics. So fortunately for me, 10 years ago, the big data era came and everybody was desperate looking for people with a statistical background. So I re-educated myself into the data world, and I had no clue whatsoever what was programming software or databases or anything, and I have to rebuild entirely myself on that sense, because I had the business background skills with me, but not the tools, but all the rest was with me. So, and since that moment and until now, I've been working as a senior BI developer. I've been a data scientist, machine learning engineer, and now artificial intelligence. Today, from the last 3 years, I've been working in some Fortune 500 companies in the past. I've been working several years in Dell Computers, all Dell Technologies, Quest Software, and some others. And 3 years ago, I decided to become an entrepreneur and self-employed. So I'm working as a freelancer to consult in several companies. I'm located in Europe, here in Brussels. I'm consulting one of the major banks here in the country. And I also working and collaborating with some other companies and customers that I do have in Europe and North America, United States, either as a data engineer or machine learning engineer, and doing a nice project for AI in tech together with Ole, which hopefully one day will see light.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, Pablo.
Yeah.
And again, you as well have an interesting profile. I think one thing that is very unique about the three of you guys, before I go to Wale, is the fact that you guys are actually reaching your profile. I read the amazing things you guys have done, and I'm like, oh, wow. This is a great motivation for like as much as possible persons that probably read or here in this session itself. So I think on that note, I'll move to Wale. If Wale could just introduce himself.
Hello everyone, and again, we need to thank Pablo and Andy for joining this session. Because I think their experience they had to find easily. So I just give you it's good you stopped Pablo from speaking else. You tell us all the things he's done because there's so many, trust me, you probably tell us till tomorrow. So for myself, I think I've been privileged to do some work and also read Andy's book, which was very instrumental during my master's as well. His first edition of his book was a very good book. If you've not gotten it, I advise you if you really want to. It's not a sales speech, it's just the fact I'm telling you. It's very useful, especially the second version is released. So for myself, I think I did my master's project with Argos. The project was accepted by Argos. I built an explainable AI dashboard for them, which was they used to try to bridge the gap between their data science team and the store managers who had struggled to understand why the assortment planning was happening the way it was happening. Then next, I've also I built a startup called Readly, which is focused on children in primary schools in the UK, raised pre-seed funding of about £100,000. Now we're trying to raise another 500, which is going well, and hopefully we should be able to do that. Also, I serve as the vice president of data science at ChangeBlock. I've always liked to work for companies that focus on AI for good, so we've been, and I'm really proud of some of the works we've done. Some of the projects we've done is really helping like directly project developers. When I say project developers, I'm not talking about tech developers. I'm talking about those who are building forestry projects in Nigeria, those who are building, sustainable projects across the world. I did a project recently with in the Amazon in Brazil, where we had like lots of data, and I've been able to help them to be able to extract insights. And some of the work we've done is going to directly benefit, those in rural communities in Brazil right now. So it's a rewarded kind of job where you do not just get paid alone in terms of cash, but in terms of knowing that you're helping lives of a lot of people. So that's the kind of projects I've worked on. I've also worked in some research labs. I think one of the most notable ones was Rewire, where we worked on hate and abuse detection before you had all these GPTs and large language models. We used those models were used to help to like flag and detect hate and abuse detection in online spaces. And we were able to build, I think, one of the state-of-the-art models at the time, which won us some very useful awards. Like Andy, I've also written a book with Packet, which makes us like really close. And also Pablo has written a book. So really you have 3 authors, you have people who have worked across different sectors. Also, I do a lot of consulting, advisory services in AI. Myself and Pablo are kicking off a project which has to do with fintech. Pablo has infected me with the fintech, with his fintech ideas, and we've eventually agreed to work on something which I think, again, is very useful to the Nigerian community, because some of these services we are trying to render, maybe eventually we try to convince Andy to give us a lot of funding from NatWest to be able to push those projects. But I think they kind of always geared towards social good. So I think one key benefit again that we probably bring is we bring experience from different sectors. So you're able to learn that there's just not one single route, because when you read lots of articles or videos you watch on YouTube, people tell you need to do X, Y, Z. But today, this group of people will tell you how you can do it from different angles. And I think everyone should be able to learn 1 or 2 things at the end of the day, Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Wale. That was an amazing introduction as well. And thank you guys for actually making it this Sunday evening. As I said earlier, anyone could actually be resting because Monday is just around the corner, and man, we're probably all tired. So I'll just quickly have an introduction around the topic, and we'll just dive straight in. But just before I go into it, guys, if you have questions, please drop them immediately in the chat. It's just going to be conversations around your questions. So they are very important. And this session is not about myself. It's not about Pablo, Andy, or Wale. It's not just about, they've built years of experience. Yes, but we want to tap into that. So let's make this session as exciting as possible. So I'm just going to talk about what the focus itself is majorly. We're trying to talk about how one can build a profitable career in data, machine learning, and AI. And looking at the world right now, everything itself is tilted towards machine learning and AI. Now we're hearing of ChatGPT, Devin, which is almost about sacking myself. I'm a software engineer, and it's about taking me off my job. And there are a lot of technologies out there. I was at Tech Show London a few weeks ago, and one of the things that one of the keynote speakers talked about is the fact that we're currently in an AI-assisted generation, and we're almost moving to a world where it's more of AI doing most of the things. So I don't know if I could probably like start with maybe Wally on this case, and I'd like you to just probably like share or shed some light as to potentials we have, especially for persons that are trying to just, navigate their careers. They are quite lost as to where to get started. Someone like Pablo probably like moved from finance, into data science. So for someone who is probably like lost, and yes, they are trying to like figure their way into this new world of AI and data and machine learning, what would be your recommendation as a starting point in itself? And also potentials and opportunities that are available. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I would start from a very unorthodox way. The first thing I tell people, I think I've talked about this in a couple of universities as well. The first thing I tell people is those who have zero knowledge of AI at all are taking no-code tools and they're building solutions. They're making a lot of money right now. So if those who have zero knowledge at all can do that, then what about you, who probably have learned about maybe neural networks, you've learned about supervised learning, you've learned all the basics. What exactly are you doing with it? Now, the next thing I tell people, which you should expect in the next few years, is you would have more entrepreneurs or more people working independently than people getting hired, because many of the roles which you want to take a job on will be automated. The software engineer, don't worry, your job is safe, because trust me, there's more than just,
I know.
Yeah, it's just like saying you have a scientific calculator, mathematicians should go to hell. It's not going to happen. Sorry for it's not going to happen. But what it just does is basically you're going to have a lot of people who are going to have superhuman powers. Like, when you look at Spider-Man in the storybooks we were reading in the past, now we're going to be the Spider-Man now, if that helps you, where you have the ability to be able to do so much more than you could have done. What you could do probably in a week, you're probably going to do it in a few hours now. But it will need very skilled, intelligent people who are well trained. So you would need to understand your domain, but because of the ability that these AI tools will give you, you will be able to do them at a super faster speed than you would have ever done before. So that's what's going to happen now. And that's why you find out that a lot of startups now, you find out that they have one guy with a lot of AI agents as assistants in the companies, building so many things that he could not have done without maybe a 20 or 40-man team before. But that's what's happening now. Now, so what does that mean for all of us? What does it mean for you as a software engineer? What does it mean for someone who is in finance? I sat down, I think when I went to University of Bradford, and I met a lawyer, and she was like, how does she come into this AI boom? What's she supposed to do? Now, naturally, she might get an advice that, look, you can actually study, become an AI engineer. But guess what? Her job really is to take her domain knowledge and merge it with AI to begin to build solutions that are tailored towards AI law in AI, things like that. Because guess what? There are going to be tons of startups that will need legal advice, and a corporate lawyer cannot give them that advice. But a lawyer who has AI understanding can provide those kind of insights. You meet medical doctors who are really like seasoned, who have seen the gaps in their industry. Now they are studying AI. They can take the knowledge of AI and the knowledge of medicine, the gap in between them, merge it up and begin to build solutions. So your job really, especially when you come from a very specialized domain, is to take those knowledge. You look at Pablo, he did not pull out of the financial sector, but what did he do? He built upon what he has. And that's why really in many cases, AI, I tell people many times, is not really, in 90% of the times, it's not really a foundational course. It's something that speeds up the process. It speeds up the process in many industries. So when you're learning, it does not tell you to throw away everything you've learned, but to take what you know, build on top of it with what you are learning now with AI to begin to build amazing solutions, either directly as an entrepreneur or where you want to work. And guess what? I'm telling you, many times I tell, even when we talk about jobs or talk about getting into the industry, a lot of people are trying to like apply for jobs. Well, guess what? Do you know that there are solutions insights you can know about maybe the banking sector, and you can reach out to Andy and say, look, I'm thinking that we can build this solution because I see that AI can help us to speed up this process. There's a higher chance that Andy is going to recommend you for a job because he's seen that you're bringing in a solution, not you waiting, sitting back and just doing nothing and just recycling all the projects on Kaggle. It's good to learn with the projects that have been built out, but that's your starting point. That should not be your end goal. You need to take what you've learned and begin to build, because there's too much there's too much solution, there's too much technology out there to not begin to do things. It's just too much. So my advice is look at what you are. Where are you? What have you learned so far? Who are you at this point in time? Then take AI to begin to become that Spider-Man. That's what I tell people. So that's what I understand.
Yeah, let me continue with the idea.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. Continuing with the idea from just Polly just said. I also have that question very often, even from AI developers, AI engineers. How the hell somebody like you became somebody like us? How I changed my language from amortizations and profit and loss and things like that to servers and clusters and stuff. There is something that just continue with the idea that Paul said. My number one first advice that I tell anybody is just AI, machine learning, all those things are just tools. They're not going to solve anything by themselves. They don't. They will never do. So the first advice that I will tell somebody is just pick a domain knowledge, very much what Wallace just said. Identify a problem or identify a potential solution. Sometimes it's not just a problem. Sometimes it's something that can be done better or can be produce a better outcome. And once you have that from state A to state B, okay, how can I get from something from state A to state B, which is in a much more desirable state or much more efficient thing? And then start combine that problem identification, so which is even more important skill than problem solving. Problem finding is even more important than problem solving. And then start combining that with AI ML. You don't need to be an expert in programming. I was not an expert. I am not an expert in programming at all. I do what I need to do, but I am not an expert. And that was exactly what happened to me. So I started in data because I had the problem to analyze much bigger quantities of data every year. So every year I have to build more data into my reports, into my analysis. I was an Excel guy. Today I hate Excel. I hate it's like a toy for a kid today for me.
Plus one.
Thank you, Andy. So it's true. It's just a simple toy, and because I need to analyze huge quantities of data sometimes, and not even just that fit into a spreadsheet. I need to combine it with many more other different sources of data, contextualize what I need, and how the hell I'm going to do that? Well, yeah, that is true. Because in the past, I used to have my Excel spreadsheet, my calculator, my brain. I can do almost anything. But today it's impossible. So, and not only that, the type of problems that I used to solve before was very much looking backwards. So what happened in the past? How was my sales? How was my trendings on this, on that? How was my revenue, my expenses, all that stuff? The problem is, how can I look to the future? How can I look to the forward to my analysis? What can I expect next? That is actually machine learning. That was the genesis in my work, and the rest has been just natural progression of that. I am not a technical person. There are many more people here that are a lot better than me in technicalities, but you know what? My weakness became actually my superpower. Because I have the ability to explain to my VPs, my executive directors, my business people, how a regression works. How can I forecast something and how to interpret probability within my forecast. And that was done just simply with a mathematical formula. It's very simple, nothing super fancy. But I was able to explain to non-technical audience something that is very technical. And that is actually the key of my success. That is not necessarily the same as yours. I mean, you can have other things. So identify what is your superpower and use it. That's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That is very, very important. I think when I get to talk with people as well, it's one of those things I tell them, you don't have to necessarily leave your domain area of expertise in itself. Just identify what is the potential in this other aspect and just merge it with what you have, just like Wale had said, and you as well, you have confirmed, and yeah, that's basically it. Thank you very much for that amazing feedback. So guys, I'm still waiting for your questions in the chat, but I think I'll just go into some of those questions I already have, and let's see who's able to pick that. So the first question I'm seeing here is, thank you very much for having this. People here, what advice would they give someone like me that's studying MSc Data Science and Analytics? Where should I start after my studies? I think I might want to
I'll have a start maybe.
Yeah.
I was going to come in with something in the previous question, but the other two
please
guys
do.
answered. No, but they answered it so perfectly that I would just be repeating stuff. So, I think it's a really good question, Babatunde. So, in terms of after your studies and even during your studies, I think you should really be thinking about a lot of the points that Wale and Pablo mentioned around, what is that kind of that knowledge base you want to build up? What direction do you want to go? What domain are you interested in? What type of problems do you want to solve? And there is absolutely no better experience, in my view, than practical experience. So do everything you can to, if you're a software developer, you're sort of doing data science and analytics, go online, solve problems, find real problems, build your first website, build some analysis engine, do these things, very hands-on things that complement your studies, because that is the thing that gets you noticed. I've sat in or hired hundreds of people probably through my career, and I'm always deeply impressed by practical experience. Theoretical experience is good and helpful. It's a solid foundation, but to kind of the point Wally was making, and then Pablo commented on as well about, can you solve problems? That's what you should focus on. That's always what you should focus on. And that's always going to be true. Everything the guy said is absolutely correct. So the key thing that I sort of always look for is, it's less about, do you have a PhD in artificial intelligence or a master's in data science and analytics? These things can be very positive. And I think your theoretical understanding from your course will be very positive. But if you can apply it practically, then that's the real difference. And you go out there and solve problems in the real world. And then the final point, I think, is if you are solving problems in the real world, you're likely working with people when you do it, either online or in person. And that's the kind of the last piece of the puzzle for me, is communication skills. Pablo was mentioning that's his superpower. You can already hear that Wally's a brilliant communicator as well. That is such a superpower. And that is becoming more and more of a necessity in the age of AI, because you're going to get a lot of people who aren't that skilled, who can pretend they're skilled and get in the door, but the really good communicators, the ones with the real knowledge, will sort of make the grade, if you like. So I think those are the main things. Be practical, keep learning, be passionate, and sort of start building that network and communicating. And you can't really go wrong. I see Pablo's hands up. He wants to vehemently disagree with me or something.
You're safe.
Not at all, Andy. Not at all. It was spot on. No, I was going to suggest something that if you don't know somebody where to start specifically, there are many communities out there, and I absolutely recommend to somebody to reach out to any creator of any open source library package, especially in Python and everything. That is a phenomenal way to gain experience, collaborate with others, and of course, gain visibility. So just pick one package that you like. There are hundreds, thousands of packages out there.
Yeah.
Scikit-learn, SKTime, I don't know, whatever you like, which one you like. And just, they are all public, and they all have their contact details from the authors or the creators or the developers of those packages and software. Yeah. Contact them and say, just offer what you can do. Sometimes it's not very technical. I mean, I need somebody just to help me writing all the documentation for the package. You will learn a hell of a lot. Or I need somebody to help me with this development or updating this portion of the package, whatever it is. This is a great point to start. Obviously, there are many communities out there that you can join for free and obviously gain experience in that way. So I just wanted to complement what just Andy said. So
thank you very much. Wale, you have something to say?
Yeah. So you said about after your master's, but like Andy has said, you need to start right now. You don't need to wait for after your master's. Funny thing is, I used to work closely with a lot of my professors in uni, and the biggest frustration they have is each of the modules you're taking in universities, they need more than a master's calendar can take. So you're only going to learn the foundations, but those foundations are really good. They are springboards which you can, you know, become anything you want to be, but they are not enough to get you hired. So that's where a lot of people feel that disconnect. Oh, I finished my master's and I got a distinction, but I cannot get a job in the industry. Because the truth is, what you've learned in your master's here is not enough. So you need to do the work. And that's why, again, it's not easy to, it's like drinking the ocean. You can't do everything, but you need to know what exactly, where's your superpower? Again, let me tell you one trick I used to hire people is you cannot fake passion. If I ask you, when you're coming for an interview, I'm not going to even waste my time to start asking you, can you write code and all that? I just ask you, what excites you about this field? Have you been in any of the, is there any seminar you've attended in recent times? Are you a part of any community? Did you buy any author's book? Have you read Andy's book? Have you read anything? Sometimes I'm telling you, I went for an interview and all we talked about was chess with the interviewers, because as soon as they saw me, they checked my network on LinkedIn. They saw the people that I was connected to. Some of them were their friends, and we started talking about other things that we had nothing to talk about ML. I'm telling you, because why? It shows from some of the things I've done, from some of the communities I was a part of, for some of the seminars I've attended. We're talking about some papers, more recent papers. What was your view about this? Because look, there are a lot of trade-offs in ML. So nothing is, cast in stone. It's a lot of experimenting. So when you can discuss these things with people, then they're like, this is the kind of person I want to bring into my team. Someone who is forward thinking, someone who is trying to solve problems, not someone who just wants to be in this space because it looks glamorous. It's impressive to say I'm an AI engineer. It's impressive to say I'm an ML, but are you really passionate about what you really want to do? Then again, participating in open source.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like to do it, but it's very important because you learn a lot. You learn a lot from these things. There's no wrong answers. You will make mistakes, obviously, but you would learn a lot. Guess what? My project that I did with Argos, I went directly to one of the authors who made the explainable AI library I used. I sat with him. We spoke at length. I kept on troubling him until I was able to do what I wanted to do with it. So it goes beyond, look, every single professor of mine that taught ML knows me, because why? I took my time to continue asking questions, because when you probe, you learn.
Yep.
So you need to, that passion cannot be faked. And that's why when you see us speak, there's so much excitement, there's so much passion. There's a lot that we're telling you beyond the words we speak, because we really love what we do. And that's how you need to be.
Yep.
Thank you very much, man. You probably will want to see my lists or my notes. Like, it's so filled up because I'm the learner here. Come on. Like,
We're very early, Yomi, so you need more paper, I think.
This is really amazing.
You can be the chatbot just taking notes for you, my friend. So
Oh no, Yomi's classic. I like it. It's good.
I have
Pen
more
and
than
paper.
enough.
me too. I actually
Good.
take my.
That's what I'm doing. Look,
I got my pens
Exactly,
here. So.
exactly.
You can't beat vintage. Yep.
Yeah, I think I need to probably like just scan this and like put it as a label in my home and like this is what I learned today. It's really amazing. And yeah, here it is, guys. You need to participate in open source. You need to the fact that you're in uni doesn't mean all you're focused on is just the fact that I have some academic stuff or papers to just read and consume. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond just your certificates. I think for myself as a person, I can't remember the last time I presented my certificates to apply for a job. It's always been what's been in here, right? And as Wale as well said, passion. If there's really no passion for it, it's difficult for you even to convince people that this is what you can do. So thank you very much. Someone asked a question around volunteering. Can I go for volunteering job just to gain experience? I think it's been answered already, which is go for open source projects, write to these creators and like let them know that this is what you're interested in working on. It doesn't matter whether you don't have so much experience in that, like you will learn on the job. That's the truth of the matter. you learn on the job. So thank you very much for that. And that would lead me to a few questions around technicalities of AI and ML. When I was in uni, for example, I remember my lecturer trying to teach me stuff around neural networks and all of those things. And well, at some point, I know I failed statistics, right? I had to repeat the course in itself. So definitely it's easy to say, oh yeah, you can just jump into ML, but I know there are technicalities getting started in this thing. So I would like some clarities as to the technicalities that one would need to demystify in itself, getting to AI, ML, the data world and the likes. Yeah.
Yep. I'll maybe jump in again. So I think it's a great question. You know, I think one thing that's very easy to do, and Wally said this amazing thing there about, you know, feel like you're drinking the ocean. I've seen this so many times. People think I'm going to learn AI or ML. So what they do is they look up, you know, what's a standard course, or they look up every single algorithm and they think I'm going to learn every algorithm and they go through it. And you know, you can't do it. You get halfway through it and you want to jump off a bridge or something. You can't do that. So what I think is important is that you start small, and you start small by solving a concrete problem, like we've been saying, and you'll hear us keep saying it, right, because it's so important. So kind of think of a use case you might find interesting. So if you want to get started, and I find this the best way to learn. I did an undergraduate degree in theoretical physics, a PhD in physics. So I like theory, but when it comes to learning stuff, I like hands-on, right? So so sometimes it's about, you know, just we're talking about open source, or, you know, you've always wanted to do some analysis on the Netflix data set or some data set. Just get it and start building something and saying, can I do this? And can I do this? And now you can use, you know, ChatGPT and these large language models to help guide you, and you can actually do something useful. And I find that makes it more exciting and you can learn. And often it's kind of, it's a complementary approach where you learn the doing by just, you know, you hack almost, and you start building pieces of code and they sort of work together. And then you complement that with theory specific to that area. I find that super effective. I've never once sat down, you know, with a really big textbook and went, right, page 1, page 2.
Yeah.
You always pick up the textbook and go, right, I was just learning, you know, I was trying to classify something and it used a neural network and I don't really know what the hell that is. So I'll go to the neural network chapter and read a bit and kind of skim the key parts. And if you're not mathematical, don't worry about the equations. There's tons of stuff around that that's very useful, you know. And when you get sort of, there's amazing explanations online, there's great things on Medium. Just try and find what works for you, but definitely don't try and drink the ocean, as Wally said. I think that's so important. In terms of more kind of concrete, practical things, my kind of role and everything I'm about is all about bringing software engineering into the world of data science, which is sometimes a challenge, but I think it's so critically important, especially now. So the whole rise of these large language models and all of these new capabilities, they're very much models that are owned by some company and you have to interact with via an API or via some programmatic interface in a lot of cases. So you have to work out how you're going to build solutions and systems around that. So I think solid software engineering practices, how do you test your code? How do you build it robustly? How do you trigger it and orchestrate it? All of those things. How do I have databases? How do I store massive amounts of data? To Pablo's question, how do I analyze massive amounts of data on clusters using a variety of frameworks? All of these questions are sort of important. But again, just pick them off one by one. Don't feel you have to go and theoretically learn them all before you start. Start building and breaking things straight away. Don't wait for permission sort of from yourself that you have to read 3 or 4 books, because it's not going to happen. Read Wally and I's book, obviously, but don't read, you know, any other books.
Oh, that makes sense. Thank you very much. Now, that would lead me to ask Kane. Now more specifically, yeah, I understand the fact that you said, you know, you can start small and start building or solving concrete problems and the likes. However, for something like, let's say, software engineering, for example, there's usually like a roadmap that would be best advised that you could follow. It doesn't mean you should follow every single roadmap. So if at all you're to probably like recommend a possible roadmap from start to like from beginner level or enthusiast level to at least get into maybe like some intermediate level, what would you recommend as a possible like roadmap one could follow?
So I kind of, it's really interesting because I like I said, have a physics background. So I sort of learned software engineering in the wild,
No.
which is quite interesting. So the roadmap I followed was breaking lots of things, and my boss shouting at me, pretty much. But they kind of what I kind of learned, I did write down in my book, and I'm not saying this so you buy it. You can go look at the table of contents and you see the sort of roadmap. And what I kind of think is important is you just build up, especially for machine learning and data science and AI. So for me, it's first about, and again, it's not all of software engineering, just the specific piece I'm interested in. First is about what does it mean to build a machine learning model? It means you're training something. What does training mean? It just means you're exposing some piece of software to data so that it changes some parameters. And then how do you work with that thing? You save it as an artifact of some kind. What are those artifacts? And then you think, what's the next stage? I need to use that to answer a question inside something. What is that something? It's a pipeline. Where does that pipeline run? In the back-end process behind an application. And again, I'm sort of doing that in a very practical sense, but that's how I learned, was sort of, if I wanted to build something, I have to train this thing called a model. What the hell is that? How do I stick out? Okay, I save it as something, right? What is that something? What are the options for that? How do I make it into something I can orchestrate and trigger? That's called a pipeline. How do I test it? Or then I learn about unit testing from the software engineering world, and integration testing, regression testing, smoke testing, etc. And then I get to the point of, again, build that front end application because I need to see the results. How does anyone know my machine learning model's doing anything? So I think I follow the kind of roadmap of, if you're thinking of an end-to-end solution, and again, there's so many resources out there. You don't need to spend money on books. There's like so much on Medium. There's so much on, Stack Overflow before it's starting to be killed by ChatGPT. But there's just so much out there. And people write amazing blog posts on LinkedIn. They write them everywhere. Real experts in the field. They will just share their knowledge everywhere. Go and see what they've done, what those systems look like, and just start picking apart what that looks like piece by piece. That's kind of how I view it. I'm a bit skeptical of sort of, taking an off-the-shelf university course syllabus. I think that's important when you're doing the course, obviously, but I think post that, I kind of a bit skeptical of that. Wally's got his hand up. Very good meeting etiquette, by the way. Can I just say, everyone putting their hands up. Really good.
Yeah. Very true. Because when you take a project-based approach, you're able to really understand what you're doing. Because like one of the key things I tell people is, no matter how many textbooks you read about how to drive a car, if you don't drive a car, you don't know how to drive a car.
Exactly.
Simple. So don't bother yourself about, trying to motivate yourself or anything. You need to really try to build something. Now, that said, another thing I found out during my course of interviewing people is a lot of people struggle with the fundamentals, understanding how do you really frame a problem as a machine learning problem? Do you really understand? And without that core understanding, it's hard for you to be a good machine learning engineer or AI engineer. You really need to understand, is this problem a classification problem or a regression problem? Is this problem a supervised learning or unsupervised learning problem? What exactly are the advantages of going this way or the other way? So without you having those understanding, then again, there's this rabbit hole that a lot of people fall into is you just want to build with maybe ChatGPT. Every single thing you want to build with ChatGPT. It doesn't work that way. So you building that right foundation, and that's why you should read my book. My book will teach you how to impress your friends, how to show them that you understand core machine learning. But if you want to now take your machine learning model from impressing your friends to production, read this book. And this book will show you how to take models into production. So if you're looking for a foundation book where you want to understand these things, I'm not trying to sell you my book, but you need that foundational understanding of what exactly is a machine learning problem or not. Not every problem is a machine learning problem. And the fact that, and I see a lot of founders these days, they just call you, oh yeah, I want you to come build this AI product for us. And you ask them, what exactly is the problem? Forget about AI for now, for months. Let's look at the problem. Is it even really an AI problem or not? So that's why you need to have that basic understanding. You need to build that, the building blocks, you have to learn how to crawl, then learn how to walk, then you start running. So you need to know at least those basics. And those basics, you can find them either in my book or you can find them online. just understand what exactly it means to build a machine learning model.
Mhm.
Why do I need to be, why is this a machine learning problem? Why is it not, you know, a classical software engineering problem?
Mhm.
Is it a classification regression? You begin to move. Is it binary? Is it multi-class? Is it, you know, all those things? Is it combined? There are many kind of use cases. But you having that basic understanding will help you to be able to understand how to solve those things. Let me let Andy and
Yeah.
Pablo continue. They want to fire
Okay.
up.
Pablo first.
No, Pablo. Yeah, Pablo. Yeah. You're muted if you're.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Alright.
it happens all the time to me. I shoot myself anyway. So no, it's I just wanted to compliment, in addition to what has been said, talking about the problem and not forgetting what is the title of this conference. It seems like we are talking all the time just to how to get into the data space, perhaps as an employee or working for somebody. But I can tell that this is the absolute best field for becoming an entrepreneur. The best. I mean, no question whatsoever, because you only need to find, which is actually the most difficult part, a problem that can be replicated or a set of industry or people have or companies have. You build a solution with open source that costs you literally zero. Well, actually costs you your time and your talent. But outside of that, you don't need to invest any financial resources into that. Do a prototype, market it, and you immediately have a business. Immediately. Obviously, you need to be surrounded with some kind of culture people, or if you have the skills to market yourself, to communicate and be able to explain others what are you solving and how are you doing it and what's the outcome and the result, and then price for it. And once you price it, then you have a business. So don't think, I want to also motivate people here in this audience and anywhere, that don't think all you need to do is just enter in the market and work for somebody. That could be good for a period of time, but maybe not forever. I just want others to have the option in their minds that it's not the only option to work for somebody. You can actually build something and create a product that you can market. And not only that is maybe for your own profits. Obviously, you're going to benefit many people and many individuals, many companies, many families. Eventually, you will, hopefully, you will hire others, and then you are creating and expanding the, let's say, benefits beyond the financial aspect to other people, which is fantastic. That is what a real business is. So I want to motivate and incentivize others just to think that maybe what they're doing in their free time, their spare time, just building something, learning something about AI, ML, or something like that, it can actually become your business. It can become your business. And maybe you don't need to build a product. You can become a consultant. You can become a freelancer. You can become, I'm a freelancer. I have several customers and I'm doing very well. Fortunately, I am not a millionaire. Don't ask me for money because I have just enough for me for my living. But I can tell I am doing much better now as a freelancer than compared to when I was an employee. So and this is a fact. And I know many others in the field, colleagues of mine, freelancers, they haven't invented anything, but they have the ability to solve problems. That is a good thing. And that is a very good superpower.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And that's it, guys. You don't necessarily have to look for jobs. You could be an entrepreneur. So I'll move on to Andy. Andy, I can see your hand.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thanks. Just coming back on a few points. You can also do well as an employee, although I totally agree. I've always been an employee. I do quite well. Again, don't ask me for money. I like how that's became a theme. But yeah, I think something really important Wally said was not every problem is an AI problem. And you might think that's a very strange thing for us to say working in this field, but it's really important, right? And it harks back to the top of the call. If you want to have a good career in any space, what you have to do is learn to be a problem solver. You don't have to learn to be an AI problem solver. And Wally put it beautifully, people come and say, I want to build an AI product. And every company now, every VC-backed company is something .ai. and it's driving me nuts because none of it's AI. But it's so important to just learn how to solve problems, and then even if sort of everything changes in a few years, we'll always need problem solvers. If you believe the world will be free of problems, you're wrong. You're very sorely mistaken. So if you learn how to, we are not all about .ai, exactly, Pablo. But if you just learn to be a problem solver first, you'll do very well. And then if it happens that you have AI, ML, data expertise, that can help you decide when it's not an AI problem. I actually talk about this in the book as well. And I was lecturing at the University of Warsaw remotely over the past few days. And that was one whole section I had, sort of few slides talking about this was, here's some criteria when it's not an ML problem. And that's important to say. And people always think, are you crazy, Andy? You're head of ML ops at a big bank. Everything should be ML to you. It's not. It's just, sometimes it's just a problem. And the key point is AI or ML or technology can help, but it might not be the right thing. So just become a problem solver and you'll always have work to do. I think that's important.
Thank you very much, Andy. Wale, you have a feedback on that?
Yeah, I think he literally hit the nail on the head. I also want to just talk a bit about freelancers because Pablo is a very good freelancer. I do have other friends. If I started with a friend of mine last year, and I think sometime around August, he was already over $500,000 as a freelancer. And Pablo, he's Spanish like you, so he was already thinking about the holidays early enough, So, and I asked him, why are you not building any personal product for himself? He said he doesn't want to invent anything. He just wants to help those who are inventing to build things. So the bottom line is not about numbers here, but the key thing is there's so many opportunities. There's so many ways, and this AI is going to explode and is exploding a lot of opportunities. And it will be naive for you, no matter what you do, to not look at how can AI help you, either directly as an AI engineer or as someone who knows AI and applies it in their work. Because whether you like it or not, either you use it or someone who is using it to take over your job. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And speaking on the freelance thing, just some recent experiences, because I've been in the world of SaaS, SaaS, and I see a lot of guys out there building, amazing stuff with even ChatGPT API. You have guys that build maybe like chatpdf.ai, and they just have people subscribe, upload your PDF and ask the PDF any question. And they charge $20 every month or $5 every month, and they're all fine. They build random products just around the API. So, you could as well be a freelancer or an indie hacker or something just around, as it was said earlier, AI is a tool. So take advantage of it. You don't have to go deep dive into learning all of those statistics and all of those things, but take advantage of the tool that is available. If you then choose to say, oh, I want to go deeper, then all well and good. Thank you very much for that. So I think I'm just going to go to the last question of the evening before we gradually wrap it up, right? Because I know we can spend hours talking about this. I have a question from US here. It says, how do you manage to fight the battle against those who want to see information in spreadsheets? Sometimes the problem is in the CEOs. Once someone consulted me about the step-by-step of an NNL, and it seemed he wanted to understand, it seemed that he wanted to understand him to believe in the results. I don't know if we can, if you understand the question and you probably want to give any feedback, either Pablo, Andy, or Wale. The question is in the chat by Rias.
What's an NNL?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah,
I believe.
I thought it was you guys.
Oh, Pablo knows. Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Pablo.
awesome.
Yep.
No, I mean, I know Ramon myself, so it's a good friend of mine, and I believe, unless I'm wrong, NNL is like the neural network. I think, but it's inverse in the terms because it's on Spanish. So I believe that's the case. So
cool.
Yeah, neural network. Yeah. Well, it's GDE.
Gotcha. So I would say, so I can't, no worries, Ramon. So I would say that my life for a few years was a constant war against Excel. And it was more, I'm not against Excel in kind of some Puritan philosophical sense. It's just, I think the problem is that entire sort of industries get built up inside your organization or your companies where people tweak Excels and it's not maintainable. It's not something you can kind of do in a standardized way. You can't version control it. You can't do all these cool things you do with code that are important, right? But to your point about, Ramon, about this, I suppose there's a sort of trust element as well. And this is where your communication skills come in. And Pablo sort of was saying he's got quite a super sort of talent for this. It's so important to sort of just tell people that it's okay if it's not, every step is visible. I can still explain the core concepts of what's happening. I can still show you the code, and even if you don't read code, I'll tell you what each bit's sort of doing. But it's just sort of taking people on the journey, I think. You do get a lot of ignorance from people, and I think this is a much tougher challenge now, because now everyone has played with AI. So many people think they are an AI expert when they are not. And there's a lot of very senior people now who've played with ChatGPT, and they're like, but I know it can do this. Why are you not doing that for me right away? And it's just always about having that conversation, listening to their concerns and trying to break it down. But yeah, the spreadsheet thing is a constant battle. But now we're gonna have spreadsheets with ChatGPT plugins, so I don't know if things will get better or worse. So we'll see how that goes. Pablo, did you have your hand up, or is it Ole?
Yeah, either.
Yes, yeah, I can tell always a great experience that I had when I started my career as a BI developer. I was into a software company that I had to pull a ton of reports, raw data from Salesforce, from Oracle, from this, from that, build everything into a mega master pivot table in Excel, and periodically every single Friday send it to the VPs of operations and so many other directors. And I just thought after 3 weeks that this is absolutely ridiculous. I don't want to do this anymore. Why do I have to send all this mechanical work all the time, every single week, for these people to have a stupid Excel in their emails? That's ridiculous. So without not telling anybody, you don't need to do what I did. I'm telling you, I went a little bit aggressive here, but without not telling anybody, what I did was I just downloaded Power BI myself, installed it in my local machine. I created a connection of all the sources, all the raw data sources, and I pulled all the data into my Power BI, and I created a dashboard, which was more dynamically, more visual. It answered all the data points and the questions that the business people needs to answer based off the report that I used to build on Excel spreadsheet. And I uploaded the dashboard to the cloud. And all I did was, without telling anything to anybody, I sent the weekly email, but instead of an attachment was the Excel spreadsheet, I just send the link, the URL link to the dashboard. So I send it over. I say, I don't know what is going to happen. Maybe on Monday, their HR is going to call me. I don't know. Well, Monday came, nothing happened. Tuesday came. I was thinking, oh my goodness, Tuesday is the day. Nothing happened. Wednesday is going to be the day that HR is going to call me. No, never came. They never came. In Thursday, I thought, oh my goodness, I know what's going on. These people are not looking even at this stupid spreadsheet. They don't care. They don't care. That's exactly what happened. On Friday, and this is a true story, and I have witness, I can tell you. So on Friday, the VP of operations contacted me. His email was literally 2 sentences. What is this I wanted in my company? That was it.
Wow.
And that was the beginning of a multinational software company that implemented and adopted everything in the cloud. We adopted Azure. And of course, the tool for analytics, reporting, and everything was Power BI. And later we started, once we have all the data stored and unified, and everybody can see everything at the same time and answer specific questions, I started to do machine learning. Hey, no, now we have all the sales and we have all the customers and the view 360 and everything. Let's start doing some clustering on our products. Let's start doing some regression of our demands. Let's start doing this. And it was a natural progression. That was a very natural progression. And that company, and I did the same, something very similar in Dell operations. We removed a ton of Excel spreadsheets flying around in emails and everything. It was traffic was really drastically down, doing something very similar in a different way. But sometimes you have to have I'm not going to say arrogance, but you need to just step in and say, guys, this is not going to happen anymore. And bottom line, my bottom line after talking this funny story is, if you want to get people to walk away from spreadsheets, let's say the old-fashioned way, do not sell the tool. Never sell the tool to them. Sell the solution. They didn't know what was Power BI, if it was Tableau. They don't care. They just saw everything in a much better way that they can interact directly and answer all the questions all the time. And all they need was an automatic refresh. That's all they did. So no more emails. So sell the tool, show the value of the solution. I mean, identify a problem, sell the value of a solution, and just everything else will come up later. That is my experience. It's a real experience.
Thank you very much. I think Wale has something to say, but
just say quickly. I think is in line with Pablo, but the good part is I work with startups. So the first thing I tell the founders or those who are in charge is, do you want to make more monies or do you want to save monies? So that's when they hear those two sentences, they are listening to me. Okay, go on. And I tell them, look, there's a smarter and there's a better way of doing this. And the hallmark of any expert is your ability to be able to show people a better way of doing things. So when you do that, it's easy. And one thing I learned, if you look at what Albert Einstein says, is when you can explain things in simple terms, you understand. I did a pitch for my company based on the solution we built, very simple solution compared to the old way of doing things where you had these Excel sheets flying all over the place. I took the same Excel sheet and I built it into an explainable AI dashboard. We had charts and we had text-based explanations. And we pitched this to a group of investors in Wall Street. And in 10 minutes, the co-founder called me that, what did you tell these guys? Because it's that simple. Whatever you're going to sell to people, they need to understand real quick. No one cares about how many billion parameters you used. It's only us who are in the field that, oh, this is a great model. But everyday users, the people, the business people you want to solve problems for, they want to see results. They want to see good solutions. And when they see a better way of doing things, no one is going to go back to an old way of doing it. And that's exactly what Pablo experienced. And the same thing Andy experiences every day. So you must show people. Your expertise is not in debating with people. Oh, I'm an AI engineer. You must listen to me. It's about you showing them why you're the AI engineer. Why are you the ML engineer? Why do you know better? Why can't they just take ChatGPT and use it? Why are you saying you know what you're doing? You need to show them. And it's in showing them that they can say, oh, yeah, this is the guy.
Yeah, man, that's a very wonderful way to wrap it up. Thank you very much, guys. I really wish we could actually like go on and on, but well, it's Sunday again. We need to go and rest. So I want to say a special appreciation to Andy, to Pablo, to Oluwole. I know it's not easy having to bring you guys in here, and I know you are very busy individuals as well. So it's a great one having you here. And I want one recommendation itself. I would want to tell everyone out there, this is not in any way any form of marketing, but please get these books. Even myself, I'm jumping on Amazon almost immediately to get these books, not because I want to become an ML person. I still enjoy being a software engineer, but these are just fields to explore for curiosity and just, you know, just for you to be able to improve in your career. I think, Wale, if you probably, someone is asking the book titles, please, if you just could mention the names of the books, and they could probably like, so your book and as well, Pablo's book. I think I have it here though. For Pablo's book, it's machine learning in Power BI with R and Python. And I can't remember that of Wale anyway, so you might have to help me.
Yeah, for Wale's, oh, sorry.
No, you go, Pablo. Yeah.
Oh, you know, I'm a Spanish. I talk too much. I'm sorry about that. So, yeah. So the Wale's book is TensorFlow Certificate Developer Guide. which is phenomenal, and Andy, which is one of those jewels that you need to learn, is machine learning engineering in Python. There's I enjoy very much the first edition. I still have it and I still read it very much. And they also
read the second edition.
yeah, but read the second edition is great because in addition of MLOps,
Super. Yeah.
yes, it includes LLM ops, so large language model operations, which is a radically different approach to machine learning or traditional machine learning operations. So.
Oh, great. Thank you very much, guys. And yeah, I've dropped a link to their general profile because they are as well trainers at Data Science Academy. Again, this is not by any means an advert. It's just me helping you guys know how best to reach out to them. Their LinkedIn profiles are there, so you can easily navigate and follow them on LinkedIn if need be. You can ask them any question. I believe they'll be able to respond. So again, special appreciation to you guys, and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. That's
Thank you very
brilliant.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.